chats. Welcome back to Car Chats F1 with Amy and Anna.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Anna. And that one felt particularly like, what?
Yeah, disjointed.
Hi, welcome back, guys. It's another edition of the Hey. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at CarChatsF1 and patreon.com/CarChatsF1 if you want to support the pod, help keep us ad-free and get your episodes and bonus content early. Ooh la la. So today we have book club. We'll kick off with some other stuff before we dive straight into book club, because we are trying to put it off as long as we possibly can.
If I didn't have to bring up this book, I wouldn't.
If I didn't have to talk about it ever again, I wouldn't. So that's a little sneak preview, guys, of our thoughts on Throttled. A few things that have happened this week that I did want to bring to the pod, bring to attention. The first one being a shout out to Jess, who hopped on my live last week and told me that she had indeed tagged us in an edit that she made for us. Never before have we had an edit made for us. It's not of us, it is of Arthur Leclerc and Charles Leclerc. And I couldn't believe it. I watched it live on my live. Shout out to Jess, Pedro Pascal enthusiast, who said, "This is dedicated to Annery and the Car Chats F1 podcast. There aren't enough words to express my love for this podcast and the wonderful people behind it. If you haven't already, go check out the podcast," which is so sweet.
So sweet.
So sweet. I loved it, and the edit made me crack up. This is the kind of thing that people associate us with.
Brilliant.
But big shout out to Jess. Thank you, Jess. We really did actually enjoy it. Thank you. Everybody say thank you. This from mere hours ago. Max Verstappen was played at a Chiefs game, an NFL game. And I thought it was just like they played like the like quiet bit because, you know, people put anybody's name to that. No, they actually played Max Verstappen while they were playing. Clara, who gets a shout out practically every week, said, Max Verstappen playing in an NFL game was not on my bingo card. In front of Taylor Swift too?
I was just about to say, how did Taylor react to that?
Taylor was like, I gotta sample this for my next album.
Patrick Mahomes is one of those that has bought shares or whatever in Alpine. So
conflict of interest there.
Yeah. He was probably like, damn it.
He's like, God damn it, why is there no Pierre Gasly song? But there is. It doesn't quite hit the same as
doesn't hit the same, and it's a bit inaccurate now that he's left AlphaTauri. And by the way, guys, they're not even called AlphaTauri anymore.
What is the name?
Visa Cashapp Racing Pass. I can't say it with a straight face. I was the first person to notice this, wasn't I? I put it in our group chat being like, has anyone seen the supposed leaked name? And everyone was like, no. And I was like, the way I found it was that somebody tweeted saying that Red Bull had registered the name Visa Cashapp RB, and that people were like, Red Bull, like Visa Cashapp Red Bull, like something like that.
Yeah.
And people were like, well, probably not going to be like, Red Bull's not going to change their name to Visa Cashapp Red Bull, are they? So it must be AlphaTauri.
I can't believe, how did people find that they changed the domain? How did people find they changed the domain name? Domain name.
I don't know. People just keep tabs on it. It said they had been registered by like Red Bull Racing, Milton Keynes, and stuff like that. So they were like, Visa Cashapp Red Bull.
Visa Cashapp Red Bull. Oh my god, I can't. I didn't even clock that. Obviously, you'd pick that up, but my god, that is I still can't believe it. I can't believe we have Stake Kick F1 team Visa Cashapp. I saw somebody say the good thing about being a Ferrari fan is knowing that you're never going to have like PayPal Visa sponsored Ferrari. Speaking of Red Bull, did you see that they hopped on the Jacob Elordi train? And have you seen it?
I don't think so.
They put out like a video of, I didn't even realize that obviously at one point Jacob Elordi was in their paddock at some point in the season.
He went last year with someone and I messaged you being like, look, and you were like, I don't know what this is, but that's Jacob Elordi from Euphoria. And I was like, yeah. I literally remember sending you that in like Miami 2022, being like, look, it's that tall man you like.
that tall man. Yeah, no, well, he is. They put up the edit of like Max explaining to Jacob Elordi, and I was like, that is. It's another one of those times that I forget that we all live in the same world and that we're all. Also, sorry guys if you can hear that it's storming outside. I unfortunately cannot control the weather. It's another one of those times where I'm like, I forget that we all live in the same world and everybody is just a person, and that Jacob Elordi and Max Verstappen exist in the same space. You know what I mean?
We all see the same sun. That's what I always think.
On that note, did you see what the Sunday Times headline was about Max?
No.
Oh my god! So it's just a couple.
No.
Did you see? We need merch, guys, that just says "Did you see?" and just no underneath it. we will get into the book club, by the way, guys. But the Sunday Times produced this headline. It was like a cobbled together piece based off of other interviews that Max had done in the past, I think. And the headline literally says, in big bold letters, Max Verstappen on Lewis Hamilton, daddy issues and dating a driver's daughter.
That's a real good piece of investigative journalism right there.
What a headline. Can't think that was PR approved.
Who is this again? The Mirror?
It's the Sunday Times.
Oh, the Sunday Times?
Yeah, the Times.
I thought you said it was the Sun or the Mirror.
Yeah, if it was like the Mirror, Daily Star, the Sun or whatever, then...
Yeah. The Sunday Times.
I was in the Sun.
No. I was about to be like, it reminds me of the headlines about you.
Headlines about me is such a funny statement.
The front page headlines about Anna's appearance on The Chase.
Breaking news,
oh my god,
guys.
People in your comments were like, you were on The Chase? What?
Yeah, I need to make like an actual video about it, to be fair, because for so long I couldn't talk about it because I wasn't allowed, because I had to sign an NDA before the show came out. It's actually quite surprising the amount of things that I can't speak about that I've signed an NDA for. I'm like, why am I low-key famous? No, I'm joking.
It was just like the day, I just remember like, we'd finished like coaching dance and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, on Tuesday my episode of The Chase is going to come out, and I was like, you what?
Yeah.
You were like, just my little episode of The Chase, nothing too big. Like, don't.
I literally couldn't say anything for months.
I filmed it about a year and a half ago, and
yeah, I couldn't say anything for months, and then even when it came out, I was radio silent on social media when it came out. Like I was not using social media at the time, so nobody knew anything. So now I just bring it up as my random ass piece of lore, like, yeah, when I was on The Chase. And then people have the nerve to say, well, if you won, then we would have like, if you won, then I'm sure you would have like seen about it.
I love that when people are like, well, if she won, we would have seen about it because she would have gone paddock. And I'm like, she won like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, I was about to say, you do realise this was literally like 2021. Back to actual F1 stuff. The last kind of thing that I wanted to say before we go on to what people asked us to talk about, to touch upon, there is a tweet that I laughed out loud about and I wasn't sure whether to bring up or not. But I'm sorry, but it makes me absolutely pee. I don't even think I want to say it out loud. I don't know whether to make you say it.
God forbid a woman likes a sport and also wants to say that. Oh my god.
So thank you at Sergeant Stroll on Twitter. So fantastic. But I saw it, laughed out loud.
Say, if a guy has a favourite female sportswoman, let's say, sportsperson, they're thinking the exact same thing the opposite way around. Do you know what I mean? Like...
Exactly. And like we say every time, duality of women. We don't get it wrong, guys. We bloody love F1. We love motorsports. We love the racing. Why the hell would we be into it if we didn't? Why would we sit down and watch? Or why would we have gone to the races to sit there through bloody rain, hail, sunshine, getting burnt and everything if we didn't like the actual cars? But, you know, duality of women. Anyway, we'll just touch a little bit on what people want us to talk about. Eliza and Jess asked us to mention Oscar's photo dump. So we put up a photo dump, kind of the standard stuff. But this picture...
Oh, how cute.
It's so sweet. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love that picture of them. They look so normal.
They're both so normal.
Yeah.
Cute.
I love it. Cute. And Gemma asked us to talk about something that you sent me. She said, Charles Ice Baby post, in brackets, kind of scary.
I was like, what the hell is wrong with him? He's just gone so weird.
He's always been weird. This is what I've said like a million times. He's always been...
He's like hard launched his weirdness. Like he used to be like, here's me like looking good and like, oh, I'm wearing a watch. Oh, look at me next to a car. And now he's literally like, I am in snow eating ice cream. Haha, ice baby. You know what I mean? Like,
it's because honestly, Charles used to like... when he was in F2, like when you look at his videos with him like Prima and F2 and stuff, and he's like dancing and being weird, and then like some of his old vlogs he's being like goofy, and I've said this a million times before, like he is just such like a goofy guy that then like people were like, oh, you're hot, so then he got put into the like Prince of Monaco, like Il Predestinato, like Ferrari box of being like prim and proper, but also being a bit goofy, like when he did like the Vegas promo. And I honestly think he is now, because you know he signed that new agency. Oh my god, this is all coming together, guys. Full circle. Full circle. He signed with that new agency back that like does actor representation back when he was in America. He signed that new agency, and everybody's like, he is trying to move away from this prim and proper Ferrari brand. And this is it. This is him being like, actually, I want to be a bit more goofy. And I respect that. But that Ice Baby post
caught me off guard.
It caught you sleeping.
Literally, I was like, huh? Who?
Who is this? You literally like, who is this?
Yeah.
I was more concerned about his frown lines. I want him to stop frowning that much. I look at that picture and I look at those pictures and I'm like, one of them you could have done a different facial expression for.
He did the same frowning face for 4 photos. He's like,
babe, pick them up. You're going to get little creases.
Yeah, you're like, Charles, honey, you are going to need some Botox soon.
You should stop frowning. You're going to get wrinkles, baby. I think unleash the weird, Charles. Go for it. I'm all here for it. It's funny. Speaking of is he okay though, there was also that photo dump that was put out of Oscar training, and he looks like he's like dying on like a vent. Like have you seen he's got like the mask, and like, you know, other people put out like George putting out the training photos of him being like,
yeah.
Ooh. And then Oscar's training photos of him like curled up in a ball with like a mask
he's
on, like not me seal clapping. And before we just get started into the book club, do you like my Circuit Zandvoort hoodie?
I do.
I'll do you one.
Oh, thank you. I saw it on TikTok.
You guys can go to AnnaXF1 if you want to see my Zandvoort hoodie that I've made.
It's very nice.
So this pod is sponsored by AnnaXF1.
Hashtag ad.
Hashtag ad. Hashtag sponsor. Thank you to our sponsors for making this happen.
I don't think we can put it off any longer.
I don't think we can, guys. Welcome to book club.
Welcome back.
So we've had an experience
experience indeed.
It was a hard pivot from Jensen Button to Throttled. Let me just say that. Jenny B, we love you, we miss you. I literally would have rather reread your book like 3 times.
Yeah.
So best believe, guys, that the next book that we are reading for the pod is not going to be like Throttled.
No.
I keep going to refer to it as After because I keep associating it with...
After we collided.
I just keep... It's like this. It's the same shit, though. It's the same, like, should have been
same
fanfic
shit,
that was public.
Sport.
I don't think After even has a sport. They're just in college.
I know. Yeah.
The same shit with cars.
Yeah, same shit plus sport.
Yeah, same shit plus sport. We have thoughts about the words that we read.
The words that were on the pages in this book.
In this book? Question mark?
I have it in my hands.
Yay. I'm
There
so
it
glad that
is.
you have a physical copy of this. I'm so putting that as the thumbnail.
My biggest issue was how much I paid.
How much did you pay for it?
But it was second hand, but it was off Amazon. I think I paid like £6 plus like whatever £2 something shipping.
Oh.
But new it's like £12 or something.
That's £8 too much.
Literally.
I paid £4 for the Kindle version.
That's £4 too much because you didn't get a physical book.
I didn't get a physical book. I'm never going to get this money back. I'm never going to get the time I spent reading this book back. So, I mean, if you haven't guessed, guys, we're not the biggest fans of this book, which is okay. If you loved the book, literally do not let anything that we say affect your love of the book. I've read some books that I fucking loved, gone on to Goodreads, and then found that some people are like, 1 star, worst book I've ever read. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Is my taste that bad? I think we're just not the target audience for this book.
I think that's the best way to put it.
Should we give an overview?
Yeah. It was definitely words in a book. And no, I'm not going to be that mean. I read it. I didn't DNF.
As much as you wanted to.
I probably would have. It did get a bit rough. I think about 100 pages in, I kind of was like, if I didn't have to read this, I would not pick this up again.
No. I had the same thing because obviously I did get the sample of this book back earlier last year. I did read the sample and decided to not read the book. So I already knew that I didn't want to read it. But basically, to give like a general overview of this book for you guys, I mean, I'll read the synopsis, but if you guys haven't read it, you can read it if you want. But a lot of you guys have. That's why we chose this book, because a lot of you guys had a lot to say about it. So we will be referencing your opinions as well. Spoilers ahead, by the way, guys. So this is the bio. This is the bio of Throttled by Lauren Asher, Dirty Air Part 1. Noah Slade is a Formula One legend in the making, focused and approachable, ruthless on and off the track, a man with walls higher than the Grand Canyon, and my brother's new teammate. I want more of the prince who disguises himself as the villain, but while I crave a happy ending, he wants to destroy his. Maya Alatorre is a forbidden temptation, an ambitious post-grad I should stay far away from, and chaos wrapped with a bow. We're a ticking time bomb, about one wrong move away from exploding. I want to trip the wire, detonating together in passion and pain, because in the end, all's fair in lust and war. For fuck's sake, I've never read that before, and I wish I never did.
Either. Yeah, it's on the back. But yeah, I never read that.
I would have not touched this book.
A bit too late. Yeah.
If I'd read that. I've read the whole book, and that makes me, like, feel icky, and I've already read it.
I'm just going to come out and say it. There are some bits in this book that feel so outdated, considering it was published in like 2020 or 2021.
2020.
2020. The author italicizes like sentences are obviously like thought in people's heads.
Yeah.
And it's like little quips that just feel like they're from like 2005.
This was published January the 9th, 2020. I'm not going to make any outlandish claims, but I will say that this caused the entire of 2020 to crumble to pieces. I am blaming this whole book. If this is how 2020 started.
That it basically set the tone for 2020, let's put it that way. I mean, no offense, Lauren Asher, but we're gonna maybe drag you through the mud a little bit here. She said, can't even say it out loud, man, I got it. She said, she used the sentence, namaste in bed.
Oh my god, I remember that. She was like, yoga's not for me, namaste in bed, please. And I'm like,
it just makes me think of like things people post on Facebook with like the background, like the images with like the background, and then just like namaste in bed, just girly things.
No, just girly things. It makes you think of 2014, just girly things. It makes me think of those wooden planks with like little cursive writing on it that you have in people's kitchens. Namaste in bed.
Yeah. I literally read that and just like looked up from the book and just was like,
oh, I remember I literally like skim read that bit because I was like, I literally cannot even make the thoughts, like, you know, when you see the words on the page, you're like, I can't even bring myself to even properly read that. That this book is filled with that, guys.
Yeah, it's filled to the brim with stuff like that.
A little character overview of a certain. I'm just going to pick apart the characters. Character analysis, guys. Maya, she's meant to be Spanish. I don't understand.
I know where you're going with this.
She's meant to be Spanish, but I literally put this on page 62. Why did they speak to each other in English? Her and her brother, her and her mum.
So I assumed that it was in English, but they were obviously speaking to each other in Spanish. But then, right at the end of the book, the author starts using random Spanish words in sentences.
Oh my god!
It's not at the start. It's not in the middle. Literally in the last like 60 pages,
she changed her mind.
Started saying like "mami y papi," like stuff like that, and it's like, huh? Like they're speaking to each other in English, and then suddenly use like 2 words in Spanish. Like,
why? Because it's not even like, oh, okay, so she was like, her parents are Spanish, and then she like moved, so maybe her parents didn't teach her Spanish. She literally, the book starts in Barcelona, Universitat de Barcelona, and then first of all, have to say about that because. You don't pick majors. Let me just start with that. You don't switch majors because it's a European university. Yeah. It's not an American college. So start with that. Oh my god. God. I'm already like angry because like you said,
my favourite part is the she does the Girl Scouts honor or something like that, and I was like,
oh yes, I never was a Girl Scout.
That is famously only an American thing.
But then she said that she went to school in America and that's why her English was so good. But I'm like, what the hell? None of this is making sense.
No, I think it meant that she went to an American school, it's like American School of Barcelona. I think that's what it means, like not a school in America.
Yeah, I was about to say none of this is making sense because, well, first of all, guys, none of it does make sense. So many things don't make sense in this book. But the fact that like you said, I assumed that she was speaking to her brother in Spanish and we just weren't seeing that. But then, like, Noah can eavesdrop. So they're speaking in English.
That's true, yeah. I said this to you before because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to bring this up on because it's a bit controversial. But to me, it feels like it's like an American vanity project. Like, it's written by an American, giving across the view of, like, America is the best country in the world, you know. The main character's American and a 4-time world champion. His dad's American and 4-time world champion. It's like, wow, Americans can really do everything in this book. And
it's also the way that they talk about, like, her being Spanish is, like, exotic. And, like, say, all stuff like that was, like, oh, I do find it so funny, the entire premise of the fact that she has graduated and she, you know, just so happens that her brother's a Formula 1 driver and, like, will let her come everywhere with her. But then it's the fact she then is like, oh, me and my vlog. First of all, the fact that she just keeps calling it, like, a vlog rather than, like, a YouTube channel.
The way that it's constantly just said it's a vlog, even though she references her Instagram captions quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're an influencer.
You're
just an influencer. Yeah.
And the fact that she says that she's going to start uploading the vlogs to YouTube, I'm like, girl, where have you been putting them?
I didn't even catch that.
Like, genuinely, what do you mean?
Where are you putting them?
The idea hits me of posting YouTube videos of vlogs from each stop on our list. Girl, this is... How many pages is this into the book? This is 71 pages into the book. She's already been making vlogs. This is
what I mean. Like, it's the way that, it's explained that, she doesn't really care about F1, and she's going to come with him so that she can become, like, a travel vlogger, and not so much like an F1, like, vlogger, whatever.
Yeah.
Cool. She becomes, like, a really successful travel vlogger within, like, a month. Yeah. They're like, she's like, I'm making money from sponsorships on my videos. In, like, the first month, I'm like, you've only travelled to one place.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen how saturated travel vlogging is on YouTube? Like, of course when, like, you know, it's all made up, but of course when she's, like, pivots to F1 stuff, it, like, does better.
Yeah, and one thing I also didn't like is how she's constantly being referred to as, like, petite and, like, me in my, like, little dress and me... And I'm like, God forbid that she could be anything but, like, incredibly pretty and tiny.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I mean, that's just... But I just also want to immediately go into Noah. First of all, Noah's horrible. The way that he talks in his own head.
When I found out that he was 30 years old...
That...
I imagined in my head that he was like 23, 24, like the whole time. And even that, like, the way that his internal monologue works is way, like, you know, it's questionable for a 23, 24-year-old.
Yeah.
I know he's meant to be like, oh, I've just got so many issues in my head. You know, he's meant to be like that type of person. So, like, I was like, 23, 24 was like a stretch. Like, I imagine this guy's been like 20, 21 from the way he speaks. And then it turns out he's 30. 30 years old! I genuinely couldn't believe it.
I need to find where I saw that he was 30 and commented on it. But the funniest fucking thing is throughout this book, where I can see where I've made notes, I made the note, ew, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Just the note, ew. Because, like, relating to a sentence that was said, because I was literally
Let's go through the top 7 oohs of...
The top 7 oohs of Throttled. But first of all, page 137, I put, he's 30 in capital letters.
Yeah.
That's
literally what happened in my head. I went, that was another thing where, like, the author just dropped little tidbits, like, just randomly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like...
And you were like, that would have been helpful to know.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know it's only the second chapter, but, like, when she kind of explains that, the main character's brother, is an F1 driver, I was like, okay. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, where was that information earlier?
Like earlier. Also,
it was just all,
I'm so confused. Isn't he a rookie? Like, the way he's talked about, because it's like, oh, he's new to F1, he doesn't know anyone.
This is the issue I had.
For some reason, it's because Santi acts like he doesn't know how things are working. When he's like, how do you guys deal with the press conferences? I'm like, mate, you've been doing this for years. Also, if you went through the series and you did like Formula 3, Formula 2, you've been doing press conferences. What are you on about?
There's loads of parts in the book that, I mean, I was like, oh, you know, you can't like judge how good the book is based on the F1 knowledge, because realistically, like, people are going to read it that aren't F1 fans, whatever. But like, there's so many parts in the book that just aren't consistent with like how F1 works.
No.
Like the stuff about the press conferences, the like. Also, I can't even fucking say the name of the team because it's the worst name I've ever heard in my life. I'm not going to say it. Basically, it's Ferrari, isn't it? That's
Bandini.
The team it's meant to be.
Well, it's so obvious. Let's start from the get-go. So obvious. Noah is Charles Leclerc, who drives for
Max
Bandini.
Verstappen.
And Max Verstappen. Someone has Verstappened together a guy, made him American.
Like, that is the most hard to believe part of the whole book.
Yeah,
he's
American. Like, you could have just made him European. But literally, let's get started. The fact that the way he is described, right down to the fact I have literally put page 34, obvi Charles Leclerc, because my heart accelerates at the thought of Noah Slade. He's hot in a devilishly handsome kind of way, messy hair so dark it looks black, sharp cheekbones that can shave ice, and lips every woman can envy. That is Charles Leclerc. You have just described exactly Charles Leclerc in a red racing suit in a red car for Bandini, like well-known, like old team. So Ferrari. And then she describes, what is the name of the guy that is meant to be Lewis Hamilton? I can't remember his name.
Jax? Yeah.
Jax, who is...
He's like dark skin, tattoos all over him. Yeah. His hair's back in braids. Like, it was like stuff like that,
Tattoo on his hand is the most specific one. Like, and then like, literally, British accent. Let's start. And also the fact that, oh my God, what is the other team name? It's like Muck something.
McCoy? Fucking chips.
Here it is.
McCoy crisps. Or like McCroy is something like that.
McCroy. So clearly McLaren. She's not even tried. She's not even
Bandini is the worst one. Like,
Bandini. But if
you're gonna make it accurate, be like Visa Cashapp.
I just got headphone whiplash. Oh my God. So Noah Slade drives for PayPal.
Noah Slade.
Visa.
That's literally more American than Logan Hunter Sargent.
It makes me feel so icky.
It gets me riled up.
Literally in a bad way, not in the way that the author's intended.
That's another thing. We can get onto that later.
But so clearly she's gone, right, okay, Charles Leclerc's looks, the Ferrari racing team, Max Verstappen's daddy issues. And
I can't believe that.
It's not funny because obviously his dad's actually physically abusive in the book, which is minorly touched on.
I know, right?
But
it's like it's the way it's explained. It's like, that's why he's not very affectionate with people, because he just had a little bit of a hard childhood with his dad literally physically beating him up every day and his mum turning a blind eye to it. It's like,
and you're like, well,
okay.
Well, maybe we should investigate that more. It's not just something that like she can come along and be like, I saved him, and she's 23. She's a child.
I know. She's literally a baby.
Like, pop off, Pierre. Like,
7-year age gap.
Classic F1.
Yeah, that is actually very accurate.
That is accurate, yeah. I've not looked back at these, but these are the times that I have said ew to this book. Let's start with page 25. She snatches the pillow off my face, revealing a feisty woman with blonde hair that's a ruffled mess and her makeup smeared. I smirk at a job well done. This is what Noah says about another woman.
I only finished reading this last night and I've already forgotten how the author talks about women. Let's remember, a woman wrote this.
And I mean, it's probably accurate as to how men talk about women, but I don't want to read that. Why would I want to root for a guy whose internal monologue is like that? And it doesn't change. Like, even when he's like, I love you, he still thinks like that. Page 43. Her body tenses at the sound of my voice. I'm not off to a great start by the looks of her grimace, rigid body posture and stilled hand holding her straw. But I can work on it. I shoot her a dazzling smile that makes women drop to their knees. Tested and verified.
It's so millennial.
Well, he is millennial because he's an old man.
He's basically a boomer.
This fucking Gen Xer coming in here, like...
They're in, like, public places. They're in so-called events and press conferences and stuff. And she uses stuff like, I'm licking my lips looking at her. Like, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, as if in real life, people would look at other people in public and be like... Do you know what I mean?
I'm sorry, but even if Charles Leclerc himself was right in front of my face and was checking me out, you would not catch me going,
Oh, honestly, it's probably mentioned about once every 2 chapters or something like that.
Also, guys, I'm just going to put this out there. I read out loud on the pod for us some snippets of Wattpad fanfic. So not even the good stuff. I read out some bits of Arthur Leclerc Punch for a laugh on the pod. And I honestly think it was better than this. And that was icky. That was
icky.
My third ew. I've not reviewed these. I'm reading these like fresh, as if because I've banished this from my brain.
Yeah.
She rolls her eyes, and fuck it if it doesn't turn me on. Her delicate features entice me, tempting me to scoot in closer and check her out and catch a peek at her chest. No wonder I wrote ew. That genuinely makes me like, I never want anyone to think that about me ever.
I mean, people are into what they're into, but don't write books about stuff like this. Throughout the book, she describes a number of different males just checking Maya out. You know, as if it's just standard. Like every man she comes into contact with checks her out.
Yeah, as if she's like the universal most prettiest girl on the planet. Yet she's being
and also just like, and also like, you know, every interaction she has with a man is like the man's a creep. Like,
yeah. My next note says, horrid, I don't like it. So I'm interested to see what I wrote that about. Okay. Oh my god. I don't even think I can read this out loud. Ooh. So this is Maya and her brother, Santiago, talking. And Santiago says, you should stay away from him. Hell, stay away from most of the F1 drivers. And Maya says back to her brother, you are aware I lost my virginity like 4 years ago, right? No need to protect me anymore when my virtue is no longer intact. I'm crawling out of my skin.
Yeah. I forgot just how many times the author references like sexual things between the siblings.
Oh,
like
it's
the first
weird.
Like interaction with like Noah, Maya, and Santi is that like Noah thinks that Maya is Santi's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And it's like explicitly mentioned like you've put that thought in my head or like something like that, and it's like it's an honest mistake to like mistake someone's like sister as being a girlfriend. Like it's not.
It's happened to me, my brother,
like,
a lot.
Like, oh, like you've put that idea in my head now. Do you know what I mean? Like you're just like, okay, haha.
Literally, like when I was on holiday with my brother and my parents back in like 2016, every time we go to dinner, the guy serving us a dinner would be like, the happy couple, and like we were like, oh, and he just never got it. Even though me and my brother literally walk like 2 meters apart, we would not be a happy couple if we were one. But it used to happen, and you just be like, oh, you know, honest mistake. We don't look that alike. You wouldn't be like, oh, put that idea in my head of me and my brother. No, of course not. That's your sibling. Yeah. But it's the way she said, lost my virtue.
Yeah, the writing is just,
oh my god.
And the sexual scene writing is just the worst part of it all, honestly.
Oh my god, it's not good, guys. If you're into the
spicy stuff,
if you're into the spicy stuff, there's other places to look that's a lot better than this. So I'm just gonna leave that there. I don't even think I want to talk about the spicy stuff because it was tame while also being too much all at once.
It was tame, but I also felt like I'd been a bit violated by it.
But you don't like spicy stuff in general in books?
No, I think that I just to be fair, I haven't read much, so like the writing in this definitely wouldn't have helped.
No, it wouldn't have, because I mean we've got two different perspectives here. Because I have read spicy books, so as somebody who has read that, this was bad. So I really felt for you. As I was reading it, I was thinking about you. Not in that way, but as I was reading it, I was thinking about you in the way of, wow, this is going to suck for you. Like, this isn't going to be a pleasant read.
The thing that I find with like spicy books is that there's always an undertone of violence.
Yeah.
There's always an undertone of like the girl isn't interested, but she's just playing hard to get. I'm gonna win her over. Like, and I hate stuff like that.
I cannot stand that. Yeah, no, like, I can recommend you some stuff that's absolutely not like that, because I cannot stand it. Even down in this book, the way that Noah was like touching her when they like first met, and he'd like grab her stomach, and she was like, oh, it's like so. If a stranger that I had like shown no actual outward want to touched my stomach, I would flip my lid.
Yeah.
And you guys should too.
Mm-hmm.
Do not let men touch you like that. Do not let anyone touch you like that.
And especially don't let them get away with it if they're mildly attractive.
Yeah, just because they're... Page 84. Another ew. Who knows? Maybe we can have them root for McCoy over Bandini one day. Women tend to be suckers for our accents. Jack lays on the British accent real thick this time.
Stop appropriating my culture.
You know that Jax would have been so RP about it as well. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe we can have them root for McCoy over Bandini one day. Women tend to be suckers for our accents. Rah! Ooh. Ooh.
I imagined the American who wrote this imagining like a proper Cockney accent while writing that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, who knows? Maybe we could have them root for McCoy off Bandini one day. Women tend to be a sucker for our accents, love.
The love on the end. Oh my god.
Babe.
Honestly.
My bird. Oh my god.
Lover.
Oh, speaking of the whole British thing, I highlighted on page 109. You remember him, right? British, hot, looks like he wants you to call him daddy in bed.
If they weren't talking about Lewis Hamilton before... They made it explicitly obvious there.
No comment.
They're actually talking about our boy Daddy Zippy over here.
I was about to say, Mr. Jenny B himself. Oh, and also, we can do a little fan cast after this of who in our heads they were, because I'm sorry, Charlotte Claire, I could not put you as Noah Slade. I couldn't do that to you. I couldn't imagine my boy with an American accent. My next note is on page 132, in big capitals, no one would do this. So, oh my god. Okay.
I want to see, here.
No one would do this. Fuck, I never think this much during a race, like ever, because thinking makes me stupid. Thinking leads me to come up with my rash, selfless plan in the first place. When he concedes his lead to Santiago at the Spanish Grand Prix, boy, that would never happen. These men would never.
We learn from our good friend, Mr. Button here, that you do not think at all during a race.
No. Like Charlotte Claire says, I don't think anymore.
He crashed. He thought 2 times, didn't he? One time he crashed, the other time he came like dead last.
Yep. You don't think. You don't use your brain during the race.
You don't.
And like Charlotte Claire says, I don't think anymore. And you should never think. These men, has she seen racing? They would never give up racing for anyone.
No.
I don't care what they think of the girl.
It was so early on as well. It weren't even like the classic "your name is pregnant" type thing. Like,
it was 36% into the book. Your name is pregnant. I honestly was so surprised that it didn't end up with like him being in the hospital and her being pregnant or something like that. You know, like I'm surprised when the one time that he did get into that crash and she was like crying or whatever, he literally like walked back. He was like in the hospitality. They didn't even take him to the medical center. So it turns out he was completely fine. Also,
they dropped him off at like an Uber. Like they dropped him off outside the Bandini pit garage and was like, "Here you go, Noah."
Oh my god! But also, how fucking hilarious is it that she said that the car rolled, ended up upside down, the car caught on fire, and he was like, "Can somebody get me out the car?" I was like, you know what? That's reminiscent of Nico Hulkenberg in. Was that Abu Dhabi 2018? It was 2018. Basically, guys, like I said before, I've not actually seen Drive to Survive, so like the old seasons, so I've been watching, and I finished season 1 the other day, and it is that what she describes is exactly what happened to Nico Hulkenberg. His car rolling, getting stuck upside down, getting caught on fire, him being like, I'm hanging here like a pig, or whatever he says, like I'm hanging here like upside down, somebody flip me out. She just, you could use some original thoughts. And you know what we haven't even brought up yet? You could not say pre.
That was the first thing I sent you a Snapchat the day I got it, didn't I? And I opened it up to a random page, and I noticed that she just used the word pre without the grom before it, and I was like, the what? I literally like was on the video being like, the Monaco pre, the Monaco racing pre, like that, like. And then obviously then I realised after I started reading the book that she literally just used the word pre, not just for a Grand Prix, but like the whole calendar. The whole calendar is called the pre.
The pre.
The pre. This is the last pre. Or like we're halfway through the pre-season. And it's like,
it's so, that and vlog are the two things that I'm like, you've got those words wrong. Like the usage of those words.
Yeah. Also, the fact that every season the championship is just decided in Abu Dhabi. Like everyone's on like equal points going into Abu Dhabi somehow. Like,
but I don't understand how they were on equal points when she says that Noah keeps winning. Noah keeps winning everything, and then all of a sudden he doesn't win, and Santi wins everything. And I'm like, wait, like is her brother not in championship contention? What is going on? Like, who else is winning? Like, oh, no, okay, sorry, I have just seen my last ew, please no is about page 300.
I don't want to know.
So I'm not going to read the whole passage, guys. It's page 300, and the author uses a word that I have not even seen in the bad fanfics that we've read out. It's a word I never want to see related to anything smutty. She used the word detonate. Do you remember this bit? I detonate.
I think I skipped. There was when I got to the end of the book, I just started skipping the spicy bits. I was literally just like, these add nothing.
They add nothing. They make no sense. They were in the shower at one point, and then they immediately get out and immediately start going again. It doesn't make any sense. I don't mean to call Laura Asher a virgin. It doesn't add up. I also, speaking of things that don't make sense, the way that she describes podiums of, we find Noah, Liam, and the other winner outside of the press building.
Winner. They win. They win third place. They win second place.
The other winner.
She constantly says that. Constantly. I won second place. Like, Noah talks about winning second place. I'm like, if he got second, he wouldn't be happy.
No.
Like, it's not winning second place. No.
Accompanied with the fact, the entire last chapter, them giving her a headset, calling her over and being like, Noah's having a tough time. Can you come talk to him on the radio? And
literally was like horrendous.
She's like talking to him during the race, just casually, as he's driving at like 200 miles an hour. Like, that would not happen. I literally, do you know what was screaming through my head the entire time that she was talking to him on the radio is, don't talk to me under braking. Stop fucking talking to me under braking. That's all I was hearing is Max Verstappen in my ears.
The start of the book was bad, but the end of the book was capital BAD. It was horrendous. The chapters started being 1 page long.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, it was just so bad. The fact that she got up like on the podium?
Yeah.
They would not let that get on the podium. I can't even like bring myself to talk about it because it just makes no sense.
I like that they refer to the team principal as Sophie's dad for the whole thing. Like they didn't give him a name to start with.
No.
And then introduce Sophie and just revert back to calling him Sophie's dad.
And that's
like even Noah is like, I'm here with Sophie's dad. Yeah. Like, you've known this man for like 10 plus years. He's literally your team principal. I think you know him by first name basis right now.
You would not be calling him Sophie's dad. And
I don't know whether the author meant to write Sophie as like the most insufferable character. I was like, oh yay, finally another female character. Yay, you know, does it pass the Bechdel test? No, I think the answer is no.
I think the answer is no.
They become best mates straight away, but she doesn't support her supposed best friend's like relationship. It's kind of like,
it's really odd. And then also like, yeah, they like constantly like shame each other, but also the fact that Sophie has been around racing her whole life, her dad's the team principal, and within the first time they meet, she asks Maya, who's been there like to one race, like, oh, so what's like the tea? What's like going on here? Tell me the gossip. And I'm like, you'd know. Your dad's the team principal.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't know who these people are? But then in like the next sentence, she knows them all.
Does like, yeah, and the dad does like the reverse where he like talks to Noah and Santi about Noah's relationship with Maya, and he's like, it's basically saying that he's got the info from Sophie, and it's like, so you do talk to each other then?
So you do talk to your daughter. Oh my god, that I highlighted. I let out a sigh. Noah's the type of guy you don't bring home to mum. He's the one you... First of all, it's wrote M-O-M, mom. Again, why is she American?
He's mammy.
Not mammy, which comes in later in the book. He's the one you screw around with before you find the guy you finally take home to mum, ensuring her that you've moved on from your wild ways. His list of past partners happens to be longer than my grocery list and my to-do list combined. Gross yet oddly fascinating how women like that. Do they? That's news to me.
Just speak for yourself there.
So that's the start of her, like, not like other girls.
Oh yeah, she is written as a I'm not like the other girls, which
is so funny. I'm pretty and petite and I vlog. I'm not like other girls.
Yeah. You're every bitch. Like,
you are every influencer.
Every single person in the world does this. But yeah, I mean, if you're writing a main character for a novel, then yeah, they're the main character. They're not going to be your standard person.
Yeah.
But writing her literally as a I'm not like the other girls type girl is just so poor writing. Like,
also the fact that she's constantly like, oh, her wild ways. Like, her brother's like, are you gonna be good? And then like her mum's like, oh, she's wild, she's a bit... She never does one wild thing. She never does a single crazy thing.
It's not explained of anything she's done that's wild. Like,
no,
she just has a friend and goes to sponsor events, apparently.
She doesn't do anything wild at all. Not a single thing that she does in this book would be something that I would do myself and be like, oh, wild.
Yeah. You can tell it's written by a millennial because within the first 3 chapters there's a Harry Potter reference.
Yeah.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to good. Doesn't make any sense, but...
Nope, I don't like that at all.
I honestly don't understand the premise of this book at all.
No.
Because, like, so the whole conflict, the only conflict in the whole almost 400 pages is that he wants to be with her, but for some reason keeps telling her that he just wants to be like friends with benefits.
Yeah.
Even though he planned a really romantic date for them. And then at the end of the date, when Maya was like, are we gonna be exclusive? He was like, no. And then he gets like pissed off when she's like, oh, are we gonna be exclusive then? And it's like, what is the conflict here? It's a date. It's not like you shagged in a hotel room and she's like, oh, like we're gonna be exclusive. And he's like, no. Like, they're on a date. I don't understand the conflict.
I don't understand the conflict at all because he flip-flops. I mean, that's the only accurate thing in this book is how the men can't make up their mind. I don't get it. Like I said, and then why is she like, I'm going to have a crazy year of traveling and doing all this? And she's like, I only want to be exclusive with you. Why? Let's be real. You take what you're given. If you're 23 and you're just wanting to have fun, why do you want to be in a relationship with this 30-year-old man who treats you like shit? Genuinely, I literally am like trying to like...
Yeah, I literally... I mean, I know the implied conflict is that, like, oh, because Santi and Noah had this big falling out in Abu Dhabi before they were teammates, like, you know, like
shunted into the back of each other.
Noah and Maya.
First of all, let's talk about how that is Daniel Ricciardo, Max Verstappen, Singapore 2018. Let's talk about, not Singapore, Baku, or wherever it was. Azerbaijan.
She was like on YouTube 2018 highlights reel, like, let me get some ideas for this book. They keep having this whole like, oh, when we're around each other, it's like electric, like we can't like keep our hands off of each other. They keep having that sort of like fucking like context like written about them, and then whenever they're like, should we do something, they're like, no. Should we do something about this? No.
But now I would like to pull up what other people have said. And you've got Goodreads, haven't you?
Well, my favourite one from Goodreads is a 1-star, obviously. And it says, the 1 star I'm giving this is for myself, for actually finishing it.
That is great. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Well done, me, for having to waste my Sunday night finishing this book. We did get your guys' responses as well. So these are some of my favourites. Ruby said, why does she call the GP just Prees? In all caps. Amelia said cute, but why is she talking to him on the team radio? ... Stop.
So true.
Jade said love the book, which, you know, we actually had a few people saying they loved the book, and that, if you loved it, power to you.
Yeah.
Like we said, like, again, you're probably the target audience then. And obviously, plenty of people loved the book for it to be so popular.
Yeah, it's really popular. I think on Goodreads it's got like 140,000 reviews. Like,
the nursing formula said more PG than I was expecting, with a crying laughing face.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, to be fair. Motorsports Miriam said was too cringe for me. I couldn't finish it.
I wish I didn't have to finish it.
Honestly, neither of us wanted to finish it. One of my favourite things I screenshotted when you text me saying, I just go, ugh, whenever I think about having to read it. And I responded to you, Jensen was a pleasure, this one is a pain.
Literally.
Somebody said, I'm totally going to regret saying this in the future, but I kind of love it. Power to you. Like,
yeah, good for you.
Good for you. Like, honestly, if you enjoyed this book, good. I mean, there's plenty of books that other people hated that I enjoyed. So Jodie said, I'm just over halfway and it's not as bad as I expected. Predictable but easy to read. Felt Asher didn't know much about F1 at first with some odd phrasing. Glad F1 wasn't the focus.
Yeah, that's quite a good way of putting it. I mean, I probably would have preferred to have not read it, but it isn't that hard to read, realistically.
I would prefer if I didn't have to read it, / if it didn't exist. So, and then we did have a few like longer paragraphs explaining things from some other people who sent this in. We did have a nice long one from Kay, who is Blizzard of One. She said, I read romance. Of course I have thoughts. Apologies if it's long and waffly. Throttle these into the classic enemies to lovers trope with a dash of brother's best friend / enemy dynamic. I thought the F1 behind the scenes is problematic for anyone somewhat familiar with the sport, # not an expert, and took me out of the story trying to imagine a team allowing a driver's family member to follow them around vlogging the whole season. Yeah. That would never be pre-approved. The abusive father was non-existent, and the non-existent mother storyline was as subtle as a neon sign. I enjoyed the female friendship. I wish there was more of that. It didn't involve pining over the male lead, but I guess wouldn't be a romantic fiction. Yep, like we said, didn't pass the Bechdel test.
The biggest thing, I think, that I took away from this.
I can't remember if it was resolved or ever brought up, but I found the brother Santiago quite problematic / selfish without a real reason that was given. He seemed to resolve any conflict with Maya by saying he loved her, but not really considering her perspective. For her part, Maya was perhaps too forgiving towards him. Yeah, I agree that he literally was like, let me ruin your big day, let me stomp on your dreams, let me tell you that vlogging isn't a real job. Come on, influencers are around in 2020. Like this, since 2007, it had been known that like influencing was a real job. And also, you're an F1 driver. You cannot be calling her like influencing not a real job.
I know. I literally was about to be like, and he's an F1 driver. Like,
she could do nothing if she wants. If you're giving her money to like do nothing, she could do nothing if she wants. Like,
yeah.
Didn't address his behaviour. Maybe that's for Santiago's book. Apparently he's got his own book. I'm not going to read it. Overall generous with the smutty scenes, and it was HEA 4 out of 10, and I have picked up the next in the series. Well, read into that what you will. But 4 out of 10. Thank you, Kay, for that.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with a lot of those points. Another one of my favourite reviews on Goodreads, it's not actually a review because she didn't finish the book, but it says, DNF at 26%. I feel as if I have been mansplained by a woman.
I feel exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that this was in the foreword of the book, because I don't think it's in the Kindle version, or I skipped it. Santa's Library on Instagram tagged us in his story that said, I'm going to be honest, this dedication isn't really settling my nerves about Throttled. And the dedication said, Mom, thank you for everything, including the holy water. You'll bathe me in it after you read this book.
It reads like a TikTok poem with like the gap between, including the holy water, you'll bathe me in after you read this book.
Grace said, my friend bought it for me for Christmas. I read the first few chapters. I found it incredibly cringy at first, and there's a whole chapter dedicated to smut. And then she said, my determination is astounding, so hopefully it'll get better.
It don't. I'm sorry.
And Ruby said, it was definitely entertaining. My least favourite thing was it was just called a pre. It was fairly inaccurate, but fun to read. Read it in less than 24 hours. A few spicy sections, and for a bit in the middle, the plot kind of disappears for a few chapters.
Yeah. So basically this Goodreads review is a 2-star. Let's start with this darling quote from our amazing hero. I got shit-faced last night, where 1 drink turned into 5, and here I am, being called a dick by another chick. Some consider me nice. I make sure she comes multiple times before I do, because Nanny raised a gentleman after all, no thanks to my parents. This quote reminded me why I hate men.
Do you know, I don't remember reading that. I must have skipped that, because I think that was at the beginning when I was feeling super uncomfortable with the way he was describing women. So I decided to like not read that. Also, I hate when the author describes someone who isn't white as exotic. There is no need for that. And I have one more screenshot. But it's basically, the screenshot was just to remind me so that I didn't forget to talk about my favourite quote from the whole book. No wonder barely any women have jobs in F1. I doubt it'd be productive working around this hotness day in, day out. Again, I forgot about that quote.
For that quote alone, I would literally give this book like -5 stars. Like,
I'm sorry, you're literally just saying that women can't work around them because they're hot men.
She single-handedly set F1 back 20 years.
Surprisingly, you can separate your work from thinking that people are hot, because we are capable of processing multiple things at the same time. 2 truths can be true at the same time.
It's just crazy, isn't it? I didn't know that, like, women can only focus in jobs where there are just only mingers around. Like...
Sorry, if I'm focusing while at work, it's because there's only mingers around.
Yeah. Damn, I must only work around mingers, you know?
I must be a minger if everyone can concentrate and work.
I know. Oh, damn it.
Well, I mean, guys, we tore this book a new one.
Oh, it deserved it.
It deserved it. I'm not reading a book like this again. We will not be reading the rest of the series. Our next book in the book club is a far cry from this one, in a good way. In the best way. We are going back to non-fiction. But our next book is
That's my drum roll. Total Competition by Ross Braun. Woohoo! And Adam Parr, whoever that is.
Probably a helpful writer. We'll find out. But I think I'm also going to try and watch the Braun on Disney Plus alongside this, because I've not seen that yet. So that's our next book, guys. Get reading. Yeah, well, you can find us on TikTok and Instagram at CardChatsF1 and on Threads. I always forget about Threads, even though we don't post on Threads. And you can find us on patreon.com/CardChatsF1 if you want to support the podcast and get early access to content and bonus content. You can find me on TikTok at AnnaRexF1, on Instagram at AnnaBominable, on Twitter at AnnaRexF1. Again, different handles.
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at AmyXF1.
Lovely. And we'll see you guys for the next episode, where we will be having a lovely special guest.
No way. Who is it?
Tune in to find out. Fuck around and find out, guys. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye! Bye!
Check them in, knock your